Silent Tomb. Once again, the sector that ought to be far from the line of fire finds itself in a war not of its choosing. I did not think our plans would be disrupted this much. I just wanted to break out of this encirclement, but we have been forced to take such a roundabout route. Is this the sector where we detected traces of combat before? Yes, but it feels far too quiet. I cannot detect signatures of any agents or viruses nearby. We were attacked by a significant number of viruses when we were about 10 minutes away from the sector, but there's not a single hint of activity here. We should keep our wits about us while we move, Persicaria. Yes. The metal forge buildings stand like silent Goliaths, not a trace of life present in their cold, steely aura. Dense vestiges of battle mar their exteriors. These traces can't have been made while fighting viruses. They are too orderly, the work of human weapons more likely. I examined the bullet marks in the sector with my hands. These indents must have been here for a long time. Even right next to them, I cannot detect the smell of smoke at all, only an aged metallic rust. I have inspected the surroundings. No signs of entropic activity here that I can find. But at the same time, there have been no traces of agent activity here either. I'm trying to access this sector's database, but that will take some time. Let's have a look in the center of the sector. Stay alert, I've got a bad feeling. We proceed along the ferrous roads within the sector, still not a trace of anything living to be found. There are only the marks left by various bullets, bolts, and arrows here, as if no being ever lived in this sector. But as we delve deeper, I see a variety of things that should not exist in this world. Why is all of this here? In the exact center of the sector, various war machines stand lined up next to each other. Machines I have seen plenty of times. Dinergate, Cyclops, Neobrute, Typhon, and the imprinted firearms of tactical dolls. I think I have a good idea what this sector's research is focused on. The military-industrial sector, Cyclops. This was a sector launched by Sbarog, mainly used for the research of military products. As the projects this sector worked on were shut down, this became a place for storing military technology of the past. Persicaria finally breaks through the sector's firewalls, accessing the relevant data. Not just government tech, but bounty hunter and Varjager gear too. Ha! Even this stuff is here. My brow furrows as I peruse combat records between the Elmo and the Varjagers. No, it's not just the Elmos. All sorts of records from 2060 onward are collected here. Combat rating, tactical analysis, I cannot help but be a bit disturbed, watching my own past be tagged and marked by others. Does the content of the research here bother you? No, I just think there isn't much value in studying this. And in this data, there's too many people who shouldn't be involved. All they are in these reports are strings of data. Not even their names are here. I had no plans of telling Persicaria what I really wanted to say, but I subconsciously reveal some of my emotional discontent. She very sharply detects this. Data is just data. The moment it is recorded, it can no longer be changed. But the study of this data and how it might be of use in the future is what the agents here in the cloud focus on. Persicaria presents a new set of data to me. If you're not interested in military-related data, you can have a look at this. These projects are more civilian and might help ease your mind somewhat. Disaster Rescue Doll research records. Research findings on a new emergency response rescue doll based on the Defh Alpha firefighting doll and SRT-8 emergency rescue doll. All parts and modules are made using temperature-tolerant materials. Greater resistance to moisture and high temperatures lowers the likelihood of short circuits or shutdowns in underwater or high-temperature environments. This operational model was subsequently modified into a tactical doll. Imprint model CZ75? Yep. Faye. Another familiar name appears, and the image of a small yet resolute red-haired doll appears in my head. Another doll you recognize? Yes, but in different circumstances. Last time, The dolls I knew were the subjects being studied. This time, she is a result of research. She never spoke to me much of her time as an emergency responder. Dolls of her model are mostly retired from the line of duty now anyway. As far as I know though, her data was used in the creation of the next generation of rescue dolls. Huh? There's even a research report on a field medic doll. Wait, this signature. Signature? Let me have a look. UL nurse's treatment methods were somewhat aggressive, and its neural cloud displayed a variety of unintended traits of Florence. However, its technological prowess was overwhelming. Its neural samples and technological data were employed in the development of new-era field medic dolls. Only somewhat aggressive? But I can certainly believe that the later models sampled her data. The newer models are a lot better behaved than her. Looks like you've had your fair share of difficulties too. Are you feeling any better than before? Compared to emotionless military records, these are a lot more relaxing to peruse. It's good to know that this world still researches fields unrelated to conflict and intrigue. Health, materials, military-industrial, disaster response, it might be called the military-industrial sector, but its scope sure is diverse. Where did the agents here go though? I did not find any signs of virus attack in the database. Even if research here ceased, it should not be completely empty. Did they retreat before the incoming attack, or did their defenses immediately fail? Neither of these two options line up with what we observed previously. Just who was fighting here? As Persicaria said, we could find no traces of fighting at the coordinates where we detected the spikes previously. Could we get a more exact location of the fighting? I'm trying. Professor, I found a doll's neural data. I think it's Lewis. Come on! Through... Oh god, so many new cutscenes. Through the steel jungle, we arrive at the sector's center, a great plaza that starkly contrasted the rest of the sector in style. A great memorial stands in the middle of the square. A memorial? I slowly approach it, examining the inscribed text. Tasha, is that someone this is dedicated to? Another name, Simo. In remembrance of Cyclops' anguish, the cycle of killing, never again. I take a look at the surroundings. In all of its weighty solemnity, the memorial is surrounded by all sorts and kinds of flowers. These flowers don't appear to be simulated flora, some of them even being made out of metal and paper. Their variety brings something of a different air to the otherwise grave plaza. Amidst the sea of flowers around the memorial, we see a familiar figure. It's Lewis! Persicaria quickly closes the distance, helping the unconscious Lewis up into a sitting position. Her face looks exceptionally pale betwixt the flowers, her neural signals particularly weak. A lot of noise in her neural operations. There's traces of viral corruption in her neural cloud. She's been pierced right through. I'll treat it. Professor? We came here because we observed traces of fighting, but there is no records of the virus in this sector, and no signs of the fighting here either. Lewis is here in these flowers, but there hasn't been a single bit of evidence of her being here. Uh-oh. Persicaria stance suddenly changes to one of alert. With her weapon drawn, she shields Lewis and me behind her. The path we took to get here is now covered in a malevolent purple. A mass of tentacle emerges from the liquid entropy along with the tide of viruses. The roaring resonates through the plaza, the very air around us becoming viscous and overbearing. Ironic. Didn't think that someone would also use a disguise to trick me. Orders, Professor. Create an opening and break through. I'm afraid you'll have to hold out until then. Yes, leave it to me. Battle time. Battle time. Oh, this is a new map? This is a new map? I think so. Well, you guys can go wild. Enjoy, my team.
横たわれば楽器、立てれば作戦を遂行。横たわれば楽器、立てれば兵器。降参するなら今のうちよ。降参するなら今のうちよ。これくらい私一人で十分。作戦を遂行。千軍万馬の勢いをご排。横たわれば楽器、立てれば兵器。
An entropic swarm without end gradually approaches the memorial, forming a rising tide. Their tentacles wriggle all around us, the acidic smell of corrupted data in the air causing no small amount of discomfort. Professor, my operants can only sustain combat of this intensity for another 15 minutes. There's less enemies than expected on the path we took to get here, if we consider the trap they set, taking signs of combat. Persicaria, break through towards Rosum. Keep operants in reserve and wait for my call. Understood. At the sight of our attempt to break out, the viruses around us immediately begin moving as I expect them to. They squirm organically, approaching from both sides with tentacles woven together like a web. The formerly opening riddled path is immediately blockaded, the viruses rising from the ground to form a solid wall that blocks every possible path. Of course it was a trap. That's perfect for us though. Now, Persicaria. Linear break, calibrating, accumulating operands. A pink arrow forms in Persicaria's hands, the core of a gathering storm. The swirling energy sends the wind buffeting outwards, shocking even the viruses as they take a few steps back. The viruses sense the incoming threat, quickly gathering on our planned escape path. They stack up on each other, forming a living barrier to try and block the attack. Just as expected. Persicaria immediately adjusts her angle of attack, releasing her arrow in the opposite direction. A great shockwave erupts like a gale. The arrow transforms into countless beams of light, immediately making for the virus's weak flanks. The virus's bodies shatter into pieces upon impact with the beams of light, dissipating into the air. The opening caused with their change of formation is expanded into an escape path. A narrow but viable route reveals itself in the explosion's aftershocks. Retreat! With Lewis in tow, I move towards our escape route. Squelch. Escape, huh? An encirclement like that won't do any good against them, huh? But it's no matter. Our reunion has only just begun. I shall be waiting, Professor.